Hello students, we are discussing about the use of free energy. I think you can remember the thermodynamics chapter. In this chapter we have one topic, that is the thermodynamics. So today we will discuss about the lecture number 10, the lecture number 10 of the thermodynamics, which is the module 2. Yeah, our subject name is chemistry. The subject code is CH101 or 201. The credit is 3 and the contact hour is 35. So these are the excuse me, these are the some of the course objectives that we have. The concept developed in this course will aid in the quantification of several concepts in chemistry that have been introduced at the 10+2 levels in school. The technology is being increasingly based on the electronic, atomic and molecular level modification. These are the some of the course outcomes that we have for our course. That is, after finishing of this course, the students are able to describe the fundamental properties of atoms and molecules, and also the periodicity. They can describe the periodicity of the elements in the periodic table. They can apply the fundamental concepts of thermodynamics in different engineering applications. They can also apply the knowledge of water quality parameters, the corrosion control and the polymers to different industries. They are able to determine the structure of organic molecules using different spectroscopic technique, and at last they are capable to evaluate the theoretical and practical aspects relating to the transfer of the production of chemical product from lab to the industrial scale in accordance with the environmental considerations. So these are the some of the course outcomes that we have for our course. Okay, so this is the lecture plan for the thermodynamics chapter today. Yes, sorry, this will be 9, the lecture number will be 10, and this will be the 11. There are 3 lectures we have. Okay, so the second lecture today we will discuss. Now this is the previous just at a glance we will recapitulate whatever we have discussed in our previous class. So we have discussed about the concept of thermodynamic systems. Okay, so what do you mean by thermodynamic? What is the, in this branch, what is the importance of this branch? Okay, so there are generally thermodynamic systems, 3 types. One is open system, one is closed system, one is isolated system. Okay, so open system means mass and heat both can be transformed to the surroundings. Okay, closed system, that means the wall of the closed system allow transfer of the energy, heat can be transferred, but the not the no matter will be transferred. That means the mass will not be transferred, and this is the insulator. This is in this insulator jar. If the water is boiling, so what will happen, the mass as well as energy cannot be transformed into the transferred into the surroundings. So this is called by the isolated system. Okay, now what are the surroundings and environment we have discussed? That is the excluding the system, whatever we have, that is called by the surroundings or environment. Adiabatic wall, we have actually 2 boundaries, 2 types of boundaries we have. One is adiabatic wall, one is diathermal wall. Adiabatic wall means the thermodynamic wall that permits the flow of heat to or from the system. the heat can flow to the system or from the system, that is the adiabatic wall. And secondly, we have the diathermic thermal wall, that is the that does permit the flow of the heat from the system to the surroundings. Okay. Now we have some of the two types of properties. One is intensive property, one is extensive property. Intensive property generally does not depend on the system, does not depend on the amount of the material that we have in the system, like density, pressure, okay, temperature. But for the extensive property, what will happen, it does depend, it depend on the system size, it depend on the amount of materials that we have in our system. So this is called by the extensive property, like the internal energy, volume, these are all the extensive property. Now there the first law of the thermodynamics we have discussed, that is the no energy can be created or destroyed, only the energy can convert it into the other form. Okay, so this is according to the this law is called by the first law of the thermodynamics. Okay, next we have discussed about the internal energy. All the substance having some energy internally, intrinsic energy also, this is called by the intrinsic energy. And this internal energy is what denoted by the either U or E. Okay, so this is called the internal energy. Internal energy of a system may be defined as the sum of all possible types of energies, like kinetic energy. Like kinetic energy, there are three types of kinetic energy we have. One is translational kinetic energy, rotational kinetic energy, and vibrational energy. So these three types of kinetic energy we have, and also the potential energy, nuclear energy, the chemical energy. All these, the summation of all energy actually are called by the internal energy. Okay, so the total energy acquired by a substance internally, that is called by the internal energy. Okay, now enthalpy, what are the enthalpy? Enthalpy means, enthalpy is denoted by the H. Okay, H equals to E plus PV. So enthalpy of a reaction can be calculated like this: the summation of the enthalpy of the product, the summation of the enthalpy of the reactant. So product minus reactant, if we do if we subtract, that time we can get the enthalpy of the reaction. Okay, now heat capacity, we have discussed about the heat capacity. Heat capacity means the minimum energy required, the minimum heat required to raise the temperature 1 degree centigrade for the 1 gram of the substance, that is called by specific heat energy, specific heat capacity. And molar heat capacity, while the 1 mole of the molecule, 1 mole gram of the molecule we have taken, and for increase of that 1 mole gram of the 1 mole gram of the substance, the whatever heat we require, that is called by the molar heat capacity. Okay, generally specific heat capacity simply the specific heat capacity, while it will be related to the 1 mole of the substance, that is called by the molar heat capacity. It is denoted by the C, and C equals to dq by dt. Generally this molar heat capacity can take place at constant volume or can take place at constant pressure. If it is constant volume, though, that is denoted by Cv, and if it is constant at the constant pressure, that is denoted by the Cp. Okay, now we all know Cp is greater than Cv, and Cp minus Cv equals to R. So this the derivation also you have to prove. Okay, now we have the reversible and irreversible process also we have discussed about this. And some of the proof also again we have done, that is for the isothermal reversible process what will be the work done, and we have derived it as the work done for the isothermal process, that is equals to the W equals to nRT by, yeah, W equals to nRT by ln okay, W equals to nRT ln V2 by V1. This is the work done for the isothermal reversible process. Now for adiabatic process, what will be the yeah, for adiabatic process what will be the work done also we have derived, and after that we have got this, that is T V to the power gamma minus 1, that is equals to constant, where gamma equals to Cp by Cv. Okay, and also Pv to the power gamma is the constant, and T gamma P1 minus gamma, that is equals to also constant. So these are the some expression that you can prove in your exam. Okay, you may have to prove. So work done for the reversible process, that is called W adiabatic, that is equals to P1 V1 minus P2 V2, that is divided by gamma minus 1. So this is the work done. Adiabatic process, in a adiabatic process the work done is like this. So this is isothermal curve and adiabatic curve. Okay, so this is pressure versus volume, P versus V volume. Now today we will see what are the applications of first law and what is the second law of the thermodynamics, and also we will discuss about the application of the second law of the thermodynamics. Okay, so application of first law of thermodynamics, thermochemistry is the study of the energy and heat associated with the chemical reaction or physical transformations. A reaction that may release or absorb the energy. A phase change may be due to some may do the same, such as in melting and boiling. Thermochemistry focuses on these energy changes, okay, particularly on the system's energy exchange with the surroundings. Now thermochemistry rests on two generalization, okay, Lavoisier and Laplace law we have, and also we have the Hess's law in this thermochemistry. The Laplace law, according to the Laplace law, we know that the energy change accompanying any transformation is equal and opposite to the energy change accompanying the reverse process. So in forward direction reaction, the whatever energy we require for the transformation, in the backward direction reaction the same and opposite energy we require. Okay, and according to the Hess's law, that is Hess's law of heat of summation, the energy change accompanying the transformation is the same whether the process occurs in one step or many steps. So this is called the Hess's law. Now this is these two graphs, you can see this is one of the among this, one of the graph is for exothermic graph and one of the graph is for the endothermic graph. So what which one is for exothermic reaction, which one is the endothermic reaction? Look here, for this graph the internal energy of the reactant is higher than the internal energy of the product, right? So for this case, but in the second case the internal energy of the reactant is lower than the internal energy of the product. So this equation is called by the endothermic reaction, okay, and this is called by the exothermic reaction in which a system releases heat to its surroundings. Okay, so that is why if as whatever product is forming, that is below the energy level of the reactant, so it will release some of the energy. So that is why it's called exothermic reaction. And the while here for the second case, what will happen, the internal energy of the reactant is less than the internal energy of the product. So for this case, the heat will be, for this production, the heat will be absorbed, okay, absorb heat from the surroundings. So here delta is for the exothermic reaction, delta H is negative, and for endothermic reaction, delta H is greater than 0, that is positive, okay. Now we will discuss the second law of thermodynamics. So although all the natural process must take place in accordance with the first law, still we have some of the examples where we cannot which we cannot explain, like burning of coal, like the flow of water down a hill. So always the burning of coal, due to the burning of coal, the oxygen the coal burns with the oxygen and it will produce the carbon dioxide and ashes. But coal and oxygen cannot be produced by mixing of ash and the carbon dioxide. Again, flow of water down the hill is spontaneous, but water cannot flow uphill. So these are the some of the cases where the first law of thermodynamics cannot be explained. So all this observation conclude that the first law is not enough to explain all the natural phenomena, and thus we have introduced the second law of thermodynamics. According to the second law of thermodynamics, what will happen, all spontaneous processes are thermodynamically irreversible, okay. The complete conversion of heat into work is impossible without leaving a permanent change elsewhere. According to the Clausius statement, what we have seen, it is impossible for a self-acting machine unaided by an external agency to transfer heat from a body to another at higher temperature. So this is the Clausius statement. Now we will see the Carnot cycle, okay. In a Carnot cycle, a system is considered which is chamber enclosed by a piston and filled with the ideal gas. It has four processes, okay. In the Carnot cycle, we have the four process. One is step A, step B, step C, and step D. So from A to B, that is the isothermal expansion. Next we have the, from B to C we have the adiabatic expansion. Next we have from C to D, that is the isothermal compression, and again D to A we have the adiabatic compression. So this is all about the Carnot cycle, okay. So during the A to B step, the heat added entropy decreases, gas expand constant temperature, at the constant temperature, as this is isothermal expansion. B to C we have gas expands, no heat added or lost of constant entropy, temperature falls, here temperature falls, as it is adiabatic expansion. From C to D, again the temperature will be constant, and D to A, again the gas compressed, no heat added or lost, constant energy entropy, temperature rises, and this is called the adiabatic compression, okay. So this is all about the Carnot cycle. Now from this Carnot cycle, if we derive the efficiency of the Carnot cycle, so efficiency, this eta equals to W by Q, work divided by heat. So that is equals to 1 minus T1 by T2. This is temperature, T1 first temperature, T2 is the second temperature. So W equals to Q. If W equals to Q, that means T1 minus T2 divided by T1, that is equals to Q dot delta T by T1. Okay. So according to the Carnot theorem, a reversible engine is more efficient than an irreversible one. All reversible engines are equally efficient, working between the same temperature limits. Okay. So according to the Carnot theorem, we can see that for the reversible engine is more efficient than the irreversible one. Now we will discuss about the next important topic, that is the entropy. Entropy, generally what is entropy? Like if in your class there will be no teachers, so what you are doing, generally what you do, you are gossiping with your room classmates, you are just jumping to one bench to another bench, you just roaming around the class. Okay. So all these activities you have while you don't have any teacher in your classroom. Now after ringing the bell, the teacher enter into your class. So what about now your class? All you were sitting on the bench, all you in a arranged manner, in a the periodic manner. Okay. So that means while the in absence of teacher, your entropy is higher, and in presence of teacher, your entropy is low. Entropy, that means entropy is the what, the randomness. Okay. While you are randomly doing something, so that is the randomness. Okay. So randomness is the entropy. Now the second law leads to the definition of a new thermodynamic property called entropy. It has been derived from the Greek word, that is entrop. Okay. Yeah. So the change in this property is used to determine the direction in which a process will proceed. The change of entropy of a system is defined as the integral of all forms involving heat exchange. Okay. ds, that is ds equals to dq reversible by t. Now physical significance, what is the physical significance of the entropy? Physically, the entropy is a measure of the disorder of the system, the randomness of the system. When a gas is heated, that is Q reversible is positive, so is the intermolecular attraction between the gas molecules decreases, and they will be more chaotically distributed, or disorder of the system, that is increasing thereby the entropy. Now like the liquid, we are transforming the solid into liquid form. So what will happen from the solid, if we go to the liquid form, that means the randomness will increase, that is the entropy will increase. Again, if the liquid will be converted into the gas, so again the molecules will be more randomly moving. So that is called by that is from liquid to gaseous transformation, again the entropy will increase. Okay. As long as the spontaneous process in a system continues, the randomness continues, the entropy goes on increasing, and when the process reaches the equilibrium state, the entropy become maximum and there is no further change in entropy. So while the system will be in equilibrium, that time the entropy value will be maximum, and further no change will be there, that means delta S equals to 0. Okay. So Joule-Thomson experiment, they imagine, this is Joule-Thomson experiment. So imagine a hollow cylinder with a porous plate and separating it into two compartments. The porous plate will allow a gas to go through it, but only slowly. It acts as a throttle. Okay, on each side of the plate there is a piston and fits the tube tightly. Each piston can be pushed up against the porous plate, and thus the insulated thus the cylinder itself is insulated so that no heat can enter or leave the system. That means dq equals to 0. So for this case, some gas with initial volume is V1 and P1 is the pressure and T1 is the temperature. Now during the experiment, the gas is pushed through the porous plate by pushing on the piston. So what will happen? At the same time, the piston on the right side is pulled in such a way that the pressure on the right side is always P2. The final volume on the right side will be is V2 and the pressure is P2. So the two thermometers T1 and T2 are placed just before and after the porous plate. Okay, so this is the Joule-Thomson experiment. Yeah, so work function A is now free energy. Yeah, so the next important topic is free energy, which is indicated by the G, and G equals to H minus Ts, right? G H is the, you know, that is the enthalpy, T is the temperature, and S is the, what is S? S is the entropy. So thus the free energy is the property of a system whose decrease is the measure of the external work available during the transformation of the system. If the system is reversible, if the Gibbs free energy will be less than 0, negative. If the delta G is negative, that means the process is spontaneous. If that is greater than 0, that reaction or process is non-spontaneous. And if the Gibbs free energy is at equilibrium, if it is 0. Okay, so these are the some of the important topics that we have for the thermodynamics. And also next day also we have to do some of the problems related to this thermodynamics, related to the electrochemistry also. Okay, so just go through the study material, okay, and also follow the classes regularly. So this is also very conceptual. Okay, so if you don't follow the classes, then your concept cannot be clear. Excuse me, if you have any doubt, then just in the next class we will discuss. Okay, so thank you students, and please do one more thing, do the assignment properly and submit it within the time. So for that you have to follow the classes regularly, and also you have to go through the study material. Okay, so thank you students, and have a safe day.